This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bumper to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen, along with Dave Riccio, and as always, every Saturday, we are your KTAR car guys here on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Oh, I'm out of breath, Dave.
I know, man.
Took a big yawn, right before we started, so getting going today. Been getting a lot of stuff done around the house this morning. I know you were out for a bike ride, but again, we're here for you every single Saturday. We're here to help you with your car. So we're here to help the motoring public just have a better overall car experience. Whether you're shopping for a new car, maybe your car's in the shop today. Maybe it was in the shop last week and you got a list of repairs you need to be done. Maybe if you take a glance up at that oil change sticker and then look down at the odometer, you might say, a little past due on that oil change. So part of what we want to accomplish here is to make auto repair less stressful for you. It never happened. When you break down, I can never think of a convenient time to break down except for when I didn't want to go do that thing with my wife and the car broke. So it really worked out good. You know what I mean? But that
got to go to the shop.
Yeah, but that doesn't usually happen. So that can be stressful. And that's what we want to help you with. There's no reason. I completely understand people getting stressful. Dave, we deal with it all the time, right?
Oh, we are the messenger a lot of times. You ever heard "Don't shoot the messenger"?
Yeah, right.
We're the messenger of bad news.
Or we're the first, kind of like the tow truck driver, right? We're the first people that you get to unload on because you're mad, because your car. I mean, sometimes we've got to be social worker. We've got to be marriage counselor. We've got to protect the kid maybe from getting ripped by dad.
That happens too, huh? You got a 16-year-old. Did my son break that car? No, he didn't. You bought him an old car. It's gonna break.
we've got So we wear many hats, and but at the end of the day, we got to take care of you. We're there to help you with our business. In the last couple of weeks, we talked about doing the repair right. Asking the questions. Ask the service advisor. Is this the most important repair, or what else can I do to make this repair better? We talked about the consequences of waiting too long. So that's what the last couple of weeks have been like. And today, the question is, how long should my car be in the shop? What are the expectations? How long does it take to fix a car? Dave, the transmission world takes a little bit longer. And I mean, we talked this morning. I had some challenges yesterday getting a car out on time, and I mentioned to you, I think, you're in a position, making your shift and doing general repair and fixing everything besides transmissions now, but you come from that transmission background where everything takes a little longer. And I said to you, I think that's an advantage for you. I'm always scrambling to hurry up and get cars done. And you're always going, hey, man.
Well, we always start the conversation.
Days, right?
This is not general repair. We're going to get a set of brakes and a water pump and a timing belt and be out that afternoon. This is a transmission repair. So the diagnostic is slower because of the consequences of a wrong diagnostic could get more expensive, So we take more time to diagnose them. And then let's just say you need a transmission completely redone. Well, there's 16 hours worth of labor. So if a guy did nothing more than work on your car, it would take 2 8-hour days.
And that's just to do the work.
That's
Forget
just
about
do the work.
Administration
Right.
And the figuring it out part.
Yeah, so the way I try to explain it to you, well, day one we figure it out. Day two I call you. And usually I call you in the morning at day two, and you think about it all day, and then you call me day evening because you got to make a decision. And then I got 2 days, and then when it's all done, I got to have 3 different people drive it and wash it and do all these things. So you're going to be here for a week. And sometimes it's not comfortable at all to be without your car. And some people, I had one guy, he got mad at me because it's super hot out. He brings his car in. It's 4th of July week, which screws everything up because most of our vendors were closed on Monday. So, we call them and we can't even get parts, And so then I got a couple guys that try and work their vacation in the week of the 4th of July to kind of take advantage of that. And he decided to ride his bike to and from work. Well, his car was in the shop. I'm like, it's like 118 degrees out today, you know. And so it was frustrating to him, and so to kind of work with that, and we try not to take it too personal because we know it's, you know, we're customers too in auto shops, you know, so we know what it's like to have something repaired at our house when our AC's out at our house, you know, we're like, get out here, you know, and so it can be frustrating, but I think the thing that when you're considering auto repair, I think the thing that's going to remove stress is to have a backup plan if your car needs to be in the shop. You know, one of the things that we do is we worked out a deal with Enterprise Rent-A-Car so it doesn't cost as much. You know, it's $25 a day. With the stadium tax, it comes to like $31. You know, over 5 days, you know, it's $150. And it's not pocket change, you know.
But that's not, I mean, in some cases, that's, if you want to break it down to a percentage, that could be 5 or 10% of a repair, and that's not that much when you work it into the whole big picture.
When you're considering a major repair.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's the case. And the other thing, too, is, you know, some people keep, instead of getting rid of that car that you're going to sell and go buy something else, if the car, you've taken care of it for all those years, and that's why people say, oh, I'm just going to run that car into the ground. Don't do that because you may want that old car as an extra car, you know, should your car be in the shop. And it may be, you know, it may be a little faded out when you got to use it as an extra car, and that's okay. And then the next thing is, have some friends that have extra cars.
Right.
You know? Well, and if you don't have any friends that have extra cars, you need to become friendlier.
Right, exactly. Be nicer. But let's back up to the shop part of it. So, you know, at my end, I mean, I'm downtown, Central Phoenix. Most of our clientele drive their car to work in the morning. Mm-hmm. And my thing for the last 22 years is, why go to the car shop on Saturday?
Right.
You can do stuff Saturday. You can listen to us on the radio. You can do yard work. You can run errands. You can do the movies. Why do that? Your car is going to sit in the parking lot at work all day. It might as well sit at my shop. We can work on it for you. In the most cases, over the last years, we get most cars done in and out in the same day.
Yeah.
But we're finding that's more and more challenging the last couple of years. Parts procurement, the repairs are more complex, and it's not necessarily the repair being more complex. They've got to be driven and confirmed, and there's so many computers and things that are one or two trip faults. They have to have multiple test drives. The computers have to be reset. Things have to be relearned. And we have to, I mean, there used to be the 3 C's of repair, the complaint, the cause, the correction. And I've been calling it the 4 C's. We need the confirmation. And that's outside of the time that it takes to do anything else.
Part of the problem, I think, and this causes stress, is that our industry has set unrealistic expectations in advertising. You know, this one cracks me up. And Matt, you and I may disagree about this, but the advertisement says we get it right the first time. Okay, statistically speaking,
most of the time.
That's not true.
Right.
No one can make that claim. The numbers I've seen from an industry average is 1 in 10 cars go back to the shop. So, I mean, if that advertising was to be accurate, it would be we get it right the first time 90% of the time.
Right.
I mean, that would, but no one advertises like honestly. So, you know, so I think that's a little bit so
is that one of those statistics that was like 97% of them are made up 3% of the time right before they're given?
No, I think that, you know, I know.
It sounds a little high to me, but I guess if you really step back, and it may be different with transmission because there's so many more moving parts. But I'm thinking, gosh, we don't have that many parts failures. But then if you take a look back and go, oh, we forgot to reset the oil lights.
Yeah, no. So that's what I'm talking about.
Or the consumer thinks it's got the same noise. Well, maybe it's really a different problem. Or there's some reason, whatever it is, return. I guess that might be close.
In that number, I count everything. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we'll do a great job on a customer's car. We'll take it over to the car wash, and they'll leave, and they'll come back, and they'll say, my cruise control's not working ever since you worked on my car. And I'll go out there and I'll take a drive and I'll just push the button on the dashboard. And now the cruise control is working again. Well, at the car wash, when they're wiping the dash down, they hit the button, and the guy's never hit the button. He's owned the car 15 years. And all of a sudden, you know, I still count that. You know, it's in the equation. So, you know, and so I think that miscreated expectation. So when there is a problem, now somebody's upset.
Right.
And that causes stress.
Well, it drives me nuts at my shop, and it's not necessarily the consumer's fault. I think sometimes it's the fault of the service advisor, and sometimes it's the customer, and you just want to wring their neck. Is my car done yet? Is my car done yet? Do you have any information on my car? Is my car done? Mr. Jones, You dropped your car off at 10. You were an hour late for your appointment. I told you we'd call you by 4:30 today with a diagnosis. It's only 11:15. And by the way, or it's only 2:30 and you already called me once at 11:15 and I told you. So we've got to, as the consumer, and even for the shop, this responsibility to create the expectations is as much on us. But we've got to tell you when we're going to call you, and then we need to call you when we're going to call you. I remember being a kid, I had a Volkswagen, it didn't run right. God, I must have called that shop 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
I was in high school. Yep. Every class break, I'd run to the payphone. No cell phones then, You're
going to be the squeaky wheel, so you get your car done that day. Well, one thing that makes me think this time of year is the roadside battery thing. The roadside battery thing, there's a little bit of the expectation there is that they come out, they change my battery, I'm good to go, and then your car breaks down, a few miles down the road because the alternator is really the problem. And so I'm not a huge fan. I mean, sometimes that happens. You're in a pinch or whatever. But when we do a battery at our shop, we check the charging system. Yeah. We check voltage drop on that alternator. You could have a ground problem. Causes issues.
There's a little bit more that goes into it than just replacing the battery. But what I get a kick out of, we had one the other day. I think I have an alternator problem or something. I said, well, why? What's going on? Well, they came out and they said the battery was bad, so I put a new battery in it. It still doesn't start.
We had this call last week.
So they're going to tow it now. I said, well, did you put your old battery back in? Well, no, they said it was bad. Whoa, you just bought a battery from some motor club schlepping batteries that probably aren't very good in the first place. And then, I said probably. I've had some experience with them. And it didn't even fix your problem. Put the battery back in the car. Maybe it just needs to be charged. Maybe you have a warranty. You know how many cars I've seen come into my shop that still had a warranty on the battery that they installed, but they had another brand in there because they had one installed on the side of the road. It was convenient, but it cost them $160, and then you're married to it. So we like to do it in the shop, but you don't have to be the guy that gets the battery on the side of the road. When you bring it to one of the bumper-to-bumper shops, you bring it to our shops, we test. And what you wind up with is an Interstate Battery.
Yeah.
Dave, you've got them. I mean, it's Interstate Battery. The name is in the word. It's interstate. It's across the country. That battery can be warranted everywhere. It's in most shops.
For sure.
And
well, when we come back, we are taking your phone calls. Anything you want to talk about in relation to your car, you want to talk about a gonculator valve, twin chrome commuter valves, you want to talk about a turbocharger. We had some pretty interesting emails come across with some questions that people were asking. Give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Bunker to Bunker, the golf show's famous two-person scramble, is heading to the spectacular Ambiente course at Camelback Golf Club on Saturday, July 22nd, with proceeds benefiting the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Phoenix. Play for the day or make it a staycation with our special JW Marriott Summer Swing Stay and Play rates. Tourney includes golf, lunch, awards, raffle, and a bounce-back golf coupon, all for just $98. And room nights at JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa, starting at just $99. Sign up today at bunkergolf.com.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio.
I thought you were going to start singing for a second.
I thought about
right
singing.
On time where there would have been a vocal in there.
I thought about singing, but I would cause accidents on the road. So anyhow, you're listening to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio, and we are here to take your phone calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Anything you want to talk about, Matt? And I'm looking at this email that we got from Steve Bowles. Hey, Steve, you got a Lexus. You changed the battery out on it, and now you've got a problem with the way your transmission works. And so your question is it something to do with the software? And this may not be something to do with the software. That's the programming in the computer, but it has more to do with the adaptations. And so people don't realize this, and this is why on the modern car you don't want to go chintzy on a battery. You don't want to go chintzy. They're highly electronic. You can screw the systems up by dealing with a weak battery or living with a weak battery. You should get the batteries checked out. But what happens is as that transmission wears, okay, the computer is going to compensate for the wear. So it turns on a clutch. It knows how long it took to close that clutch. Well, all that stuff is in the memory. And when you change the battery, all that memory goes away. And so now we got a new battery in there. Now my car's not working like I'm used to it working. So it has to readapt.
I mean, and not only just the transmission, but it's going to do it with oil pressure, minor wear and tear, spark plugs that don't spark, fuel injectors that are slightly dirty, throttle bodies. There's all kinds of things that the computer is constantly, we used to say you need a tune-up. Every year you need a tune-up. We're going to adjust the carburetor. We're going to set the timing. The computer's doing that for you constantly, all day long, all the time when you're driving. It's learning how you drive the car and adapting.
Yeah, so you don't want the battery thing is a bigger deal than it used to be. In the old days, you had a starter. You had very little electronics, and you had headlights, and that was it, Yep. Now you've got all these, fancy-dancy computers, and everything is smart. This stuff is
so damn smart it can't even figure
I know. It's a little too complicated, actually.
Excuse me, but what other things, Dave, that people are out there listening, where they might, let's talk about some of the things they might have problems with after changing the battery and how you can prevent it. Now, if you have a dead battery, there's not a lot you can do. The thing just goes totally cold dead. It might be bad enough to where you have to get a jump start or get it towed in, but maybe it didn't totally erase the memory in the radio station. If you lose the radio,
I hate redoing the radio station.
And if I think
that's the worst part of a battery.
If you lose the radio, I think you've lost the adaptive memory in most cases. If the radio is saved, you might be okay. So if you're changing out the battery, your shop's changing out the battery, we should be using a memory saver. And basically, that's another small battery that keeps the electronics alive while we've got the battery disconnected. So that can be prevented in many cases. In some cases it can't. But then if you've got a Honda or an Acura, you've got to have your radio code. So why don't we get prepared on some of these things before we have a problem? Get your radio code and write that down. We usually write it on a Sharpie on the bottom of the fuse box.
Or even your stations, because if you don't write your stations down for us, we're just going to put them all to KTAR. So you're like, good, a memory 1, KTAR, memory 2, KTAR, memory 3, KTAR. That's what we got to do.
Power window memory. The auto down function on a lot of power windows won't work, or the auto up. There's a counter in there. That motor knows how many times it turns, and if it lost home. What else, Dave? GM. You got the air conditioning controls sometimes go haywire with the battery change. What else can you think of?
I don't know, but I used to have this Nissan Maxima, and I'd roll the window up, and as soon as it would get to the top, it would go back down. But they have this designed in so that it doesn't pinch your fingers. But if that thing's not timed right, you roll it up. You can sit there and trick it. You go tat 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 tat, a little bit at a time to get it all the way up to the top.
Was it you? Who is it that has the box on their desk that has a button on it?
Oh, it's me.
And you flip the toggle switch, and all it is a little door pops up, and a finger comes out and flips it back closed. You just constantly go back and forth. Well, that's I think what happens with the battery memory. Sometimes things just go haywire. So 277-5827 is 602-277-5827 if you have any questions about your car that we can help you with. And like I said, it doesn't matter. Maybe that you look up and that oil change sticker is overdue and you're not really quite sure if that's good or bad or indifferent. Oil change is now $3,000. I don't think so much. $5,000 probably is better.
A little more realistic.
So we need to look at changing some of those out. Or maybe you have a list of repairs, but we are here to help you with those. 602-277-5827. And Dave, do we want to?
We want to go with Carl in Phoenix. He's got a 2001 Ford F150. How can we help you, Carl? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, I picked up that 2001 from the city recently. It's got a lot of miles on. It's got 160K. And it runs really great. I don't really have any significant issues with it. But whenever I get above about 65, the engine just pings. And whenever I put it under a load, then it pings quite a bit more. So I'm wondering what I might be able to do to help prevent that. I should be looking for in general.
Yeah, when you say ping, because ping to me never sounds like a ping. You know, it's not a ping like that. Is it like a kind of a clattery, rattly noise?
Yeah, it really does sound like it's coming from the engine. It sounds like pre-ignition pinging.
Right.
Is what I assume it to be. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. I've got a little bit of experience with that. I'm not a real gearhead, but I have some experience, and it sounds a little bit like pre-ignition in the engine. That's what it sounds like.
Now, if you put premium gas in this, have you tried that to see if it makes a difference?
Wow, I just filled up last night with premium, so I'm going to find out whether or not it makes a difference.
I don't know if Dave has any suggestions, but here's what I'd like you to do. I mean, we've talked about gas before, and putting premium gas in a car that doesn't require it is simply masking a problem, and in many cases can affect and get negative fuel mileage instead of improving.
But as a diagnostic step here, it's helpful.
Diagnostic step, absolutely. I suspect you've got some carbon buildup issues. So what you're going to do by putting the premium gas in there is you're going to, it's increasing the octane. It's going to increase the time when the fuel is going to burn, and it's not going to detonate so early. So if that goes away, it's going to confirm that we have a carbon problem or maybe a lean fuel injector or something. You could really drive the car hard. I suspect a city car, those guys drive around pretty gingerly. They're right lane drivers, right? They might have a lot of idle time.
I don't know. If I worked for the city, I'd drive it like it was stolen.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. When I got it, maybe it hasn't been driven so well. But we've probably got some carbon buildup. So, flog it a little bit. When you get on the freeway, go ahead and be the first one. I mean, to pretend you're leaving the Christmas tree at the drag racing line and and you want to get away. There is something to be said about blowing it out.
They call that an Italian tune-up.
The Italian tune-up.
Yeah, I'm good at them.
So go get some high RPMs and go clean that out a little bit. And then on your second tank, if that worked and the premium fuel seemed to make the symptom go away, then go ahead and go to Napa Auto Parts and get a can of Seafoam or professional strength BG fuel cleaner, or Liqui-Moly makes something. There's not very many additives that I really believe in, but those three are ones, and try that. That's your good home remedy. If it seems to improve, then you might get to the shop, have them confirm a few things, and maybe do a professional, really legitimate fuel injector cleaning service and engine decarbon. Not the cheese whiz that you shoot in there for 90 seconds.
I don't know how much maintenance that thing got at the city. I have a customer in my shop right now. He bought a truck from the city of Mesa, and we looked at it. It's a great truck, And what's funny about it, it's an F-150, but it's got the three-quarter. It's a heavy F-150, so it's got the three-quarter ton transmission in it and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, you hit the jackpot when you bought this truck.
Well, sometimes they might get driven a little hard, but usually these municipalities and big fleets, they've got those things on a program, and they get serviced on a regular basis and can be good cars.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships. And listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hi, I'm Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission. Well, you may have come to know us for being a transmission expert. What you may not know is that our customers regularly ask us why we don't perform repairs to the rest of the vehicle. You guys are so great. Why work on just the transmission? Well, the requests became hard to ignore, and 3 years ago, we began to build an infrastructure to perform general automotive repair. We weren't going to do general repair if we couldn't be great at it. So in 2013, we began the soft opening of Tri-City Auto Repair on Smith Road. We brought on ASE Master Technicians to work side by side with our Master Transmission Technicians. The combination of the best in both of these trades has created a synergy that allows us not only to fix your transmission, but to service and repair your whole car, and to do it well. Let's face it, the modern car has become so integrated. We believe all of our expert knowledge puts us ahead of the curve. Find us at TriCityTransmission.com or TempeAutoRepairShop.com. That's TempeAutoRepairShop.com.
KTAR.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix. KTAR News on 92.3 FM, Arizona's news station. KTAR, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic, now.
It's 11:30. I'm Tom Perumian. Here's our top story. President Donald Trump calling North Korea a problem and menace as he wraps up his second trip abroad. Trump was diving into discussions on North Korea at an international summit in Germany, conferring with the leaders of Japan and China in an effort to curb the North's nuclear ambitions. The discussions come days after North Korea test-launched an intercontinental ballistic missile, raising the stakes for the U.S. and its Asian allies. Poland's former president, Lech Walesa, a democracy hero, has been hospitalized with heart problems in his Baltic coast hometown of Gdansk. His son said Saturday. Jaroslav Walesa texted the AP that his father was feeling unfortunately weak. The 73-year-old Walesa is on Thursday attended a speech by President Donald Trump in Warsaw. And one of two Americans gored Saturday during this year's second running of the Bulls in the Spanish city of Pamplona is swearing that he'll run again before the festival is over. A 35-year-old rider, he's in stable condition after being gored in his buttocks. Meanwhile, a 22-year-old American is in serious condition after his left arm was impaled and he was dragged for several yards before the bull flung him off and stormed over him. Now we get a check on traffic. We go to Mike Daniels in the KTAR Traffic Center.
Thanks, Tom. Over in Tempe, we had a crash off to the side, 10 westbound at Baseline Road, and a couple of Surface Street wrecks, one at 91st Avenue in Grand, the other at Eastwood Lane in Scottsdale Road. This report brought to you by CN Roofing. Think you need a new roof? You probably don't. 9 out of 10 roofs can be saved with professional repair and maintenance. CN Roofing's Roof Rescue crew has you covered. Visit cnroofing.com today. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
So much for the monsoon cloudiness. The heat is here, and so is some humidity, so watch out for that. 112 our expected high today. Overnight, we'll see lows dipping down to around 88 degrees, and then 108 on Sunday. Right now, 105 in North Phoenix. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Tom Perumian on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
The all-new KTAR News app lets you stream KTAR News live from anywhere, puts you in touch with today's breaking news stories and traffic information, and gives you interviews with today's biggest newsmakers on demand in the palm of your hand. On demand. Download it now for Android or iPhone. The all-new KTAR News app is presented by Sanderson Ford.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney, list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, GoodWorks Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. GoodWorks Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we've got open lines for you so we can answer your question. I do have Scott in Goodyear that we're going to get to, and another one hasn't been screened yet, but 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Anything related to your car, Matt, I can't go anywhere and not tell somebody I'm in the car business and they don't immediately have a question.
I know.
Hey, I got this one thing going on. And so if you are out there right now, so you don't have to ask me at the barbecue, you can ask me right now, right here on the phone. We'll take care of it. We'll have an answer. If we don't have an answer, we will make something really good up and you won't know the difference.
I have a rule that I'm going to implement, and I think we've talked about this, Dave, with my friends who ask for my advice. If you're going to ask my advice and not follow it, don't call me back and ask me how to fix what you just screwed up because you didn't follow my advice.
This is the one thing that ticks. I sit at the counter and people say, "Hey, what kind of car would you buy?" Well, I would buy a Toyota Camry if I was you, just based on the way you drive, the way we're talking. Everything. You're a Camry person, right? And so and somebody else will say, why do you tell people to buy a Camry? That'll put us out of business. Oh, it's okay. They'll never listen to me.
Right.
So, yeah, they do. They show up with a Mini, and I'm just going, oh, that's going to be expensive to fix. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news because I'm your friend, and I got to tell you how expensive it is to fix.
Yeah, because the used car guy, he just wants to move a car. I mean,
man.
What's your payment? What do you want your payment to be? Well, Sally, we can get you in that. If I can get that to $299, you're going to take this home today?
I remember one time I was shopping for cars with my brother, and the salesman pulls up in this jacked up Ford Explorer, one of the first body styles. He goes, "Yeah, little old lady traded this in yesterday," and he said it with a straight face, and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me, man." So anyway, we've got to get with Scott in Goodyear. He's got a 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan SXT. How can we help you, Scott? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
He's not on yet, Dave. I'm fumbling around with the mouse over here. Now he's on.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep, you bet. You're on.
Okay, so I just got back in town, and my wife told me that our Dodge Grand Caravan is possessed. The wipers are going off, the horn's blowing, lights are flashing, and it'll do it intermittently throughout the week, especially since it's gotten hotter now, or directly one of our sprinklers broke the other day and doused the whole vehicle into water. So she took it to the shop to the dealer, and they said that $2,000 repair for a TIPM sensor or module. I'm not really certain what that is. So.
Totally integrated power module.
Yeah.
Tip 'em.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not my world, man. You got to help me out. Am I being taken or?
I don't know the price on those, but let's tell you what it does, and then you'll have a better understanding. I mean, with all the electronics in the cars, we've got more and more wiring. I mean, could you imagine and some of them are fairly heavy loads, so you imagine having lots of heavy wiring going through the car. So and then big relays. So they went to solid state components, smaller wires. We've got to get the weight down on the cars. All this plays into the emissions control, really, and making the car efficient. So instead of having a fuse box with multiple fuses and relays and different controllers, we have a TIPM, totally integrated power module. Ford called it a FICM or
I know,
something
right?
like that. Different.
Yeah, man, we got everything's got its acronyms.
But it's been consolidated into one box. GM has similar body control module, so you've got basically a computer that all your inputs go into. So you have a small, low amperage wiring on your turn signal switch and your windshield wipers and your horn, and it all goes to, in that case, like a body control module, and it sends out the right voltage. It's just the brain center, if you will.
Pricing wise, I know they're not cheap. Because it's like buying a little computer to go underneath your hood, and then they have to be programmed in a lot of cases. I'm not sure what the cutoff is for when you actually got to program those in.
Yeah, and you've got to tell it. You got to tell it this car has power windows. It has power steering. It's got the lane avoidance. It's got all these different things.
Yeah. So price wise, I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've done one, but on a Chrysler, it's going to be it could be $1,000, $2,000 repair. So
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's the dealer. You'd think they're pretty well dialed in, but that's what it is. Probably has nothing to do with the car getting doused in water or anything like that. The only thing that I can think about to avoid some of this, and we see it on the Dodge products, and I don't know where the tip is on this, is the battery. Dave, you've talked about it. I see it with air conditioning lines, wiring harnesses, control modules. You get a cheap battery, or you don't maintain your battery. Maybe it cracks. It's not properly secured. Maybe the charging system's overcharging, or it's just not a quality battery. It's seeping. It's bleeding. It's sweating acid. That acid, what's it do, Dave?
Oh man, it wrecks wires. It bleeds all over everything. It just makes a mess. A battery is a toxic thing. It's got acid in it. So I mean, it's not something you want leaking. And I mean, you watch some of these battery cables, Matt. These things are expensive when they put all this stuff in there. So you can't go cheap with a battery. Interstate batteries.
I laugh. We were talking about the roadside batteries from that motor club, and I was looking at a receipt on one time, and they have an extra charge for extra dirty acid cleanup. It's an extra $20. What do they do with all that? Do they wash it down the driveway and charge you more because they washed it down the parking lot? I mean, it's
not hazmat certified.
Are they environmentally conscientious of what they're doing? Are they just dumping all this battery acid down the thing and washing it down? And think about that when you think about if you want to get a battery installed in the parking lot or in your driveway by the roadside crew.
Well, hope that helps you out, Scott. 602-277-5827. We got Steve and Patricia. We're going to go with Dennis, who's got a 2001 Dodge pickup, 3/4 ton with a transmission question. How can I help you, Dennis? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Well, my truck has started dropping out of gear, diving down the road, and all of a sudden it just releases and then goes back into gear. And I'm trying to figure out if it might be just fluid change.
Yeah, what speed are you going, and how much is your RPM fluctuating? Is it fluctuating 200 RPM or 2,000 RPM?
Well, it depends, of course, on how heavy you are on the gas.
Right.
It just like it just slips out of gear momentarily. And
Maybe paint me a better picture of the scenario. So you're going down the road 45 miles an hour, or you're going 60 miles an hour. Just pick one scenario.
Let's say 45. That works.
Okay. One of the things that really happens and is very common in those Dodges in that era is they have a torque converter cycling issue. And last I checked, there was 27 different reasons why the torque converter can cycle on that truck. But what it does is you'll be driving kind of at a steady throttle, and what will happen is the torque converter will release, and the engine will go, it's a diesel engine. The range of RPM is 1 to 3,000. So it feels like a big deal. So the converter comes off, it uncouples, and it goes back on. Then it comes off, and it goes back on. And it's really related to the throttle position sensor, or whatever they call that thing, accelerated position sensor.
Right.
And in what we do, one of the easiest ways for us to fix them is just to bypass. We run a wire right from that. Instead of that wire leaving that thing going to the PCM, then out to the TCM, we bypass it, and we just go from the sensor right to the TCM to clean up that signal. Because old diesel trucks, they've been rattling around for a lot of years, and a lot of grounds and things have come loose. The other thing, we put noise suppressors in the system, and sometimes an alternator. Replacing an alternator will fix that problem. So you're talking about fluid and that kind of stuff. That's how complex transmissions are, and especially, people always kind of want to go those directions, some buzzwords and some things they've heard. But the diagnostic is the real key, and really getting honed in on what is the symptom that you're looking at.
Well, I'll have customers, and I talk to my guys about it all the time. Be talking with a consumer, or we're looking at the job, and I say, well, guys, what do we got? Oh, that's just a transmission service. Wait a minute. People don't just come in and want a transmission service. Did you talk to them about the problem? Oh, they said that they just want to get a service. BS.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one woke up and volunteers for a transmission service. And I'm going to go in for a root canal today. Routine.
Yeah, routine root canal. I mean, unless, maybe it was a recommended service from a prior repair or something like
possible.
that. But oftentimes, you're not going to, it's like going to the dentist for cleaning and expecting that's going to fix a toothache.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to work. And Dave, at your shop, I know you do it all the time. We got an email about it, so I got to give you some kudos because I know you won't take the opportunity necessarily. You hear Dave say all the time, "Come on by and I'll test drive with you." I mean, that doesn't mean just show up on a Friday at 4:30. Call down there at the shop if you have a problem. Dave will go on a test drive with you, kind of help sort it out. Am I the right place for you? Do you really have a transmission problem? Is it important? Do we need to do it now or do it later? I just want to give Dave again a little kudos. Had an email from a gentleman. He's got a truck that he had a transmission put in at the dealer, and we don't know why. Had all kinds of problems, and it's had the ever since. He's been having these noises and all these weird problems, and not shifting right, and noise, and lack of power. Back and forth with the dealer, they don't figure it out. Guy comes down to Tri-City Transmission. Dave goes on a 10-mile test drive with him. And he gets back to the shop, gets out of the car, hands him his keys, say, "There you go. All you got to do is go put a fan clutch on it." So that's what he did. The guy writes to say, "I want to thank Dave, went on this test drive with me. He could have sold me a transmission and I would have bought it because I was so fed up with the other place. But all it needed was a fan clutch. We took it back to our shop where we do some minor maintenance, and then the problem is solved. Thank you very much, Tri-City Transmission." So that's how you get treated when you go to bumper radio shops. That's the whole idea. That's the purpose of this show, is to introduce you to shops like mine, like Dave's, that are here really to take care of you. I mean, at the end of the day, we're in business for ourselves, but we don't stay in business if we don't take good care of our customers, and that's what it's all about.
Well, thanks for the call, Dennis. We got Jeff, Patricia, Dave, and John. When we come back, you listen to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at accurateautomotiveaz.com today.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate Batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate Batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
There's so many high school memories that go along with this song.
You're just a youngster, Dave.
Yeah. I love that song, man. Don't want to sing it, though.
No, please
I mumble the words, and my wife's like, "What'd you say?" Nothing, honey.
Is that kind of like at church? You're like, going along, fake it till you make it.
Anyway, welcome back to Bumper Radio. We got Jeff, Patricia, Dave, and John. And real quick, we had an email. A guy was looking for an RV, a place to take care of his RV. And I don't personally know a specific RV shop. If I had someone call me and say I got an RV, I'd say go to see Greg at ADS in Chandler. He's fantastic. He's got the capability to do a lot of that. The thing about RVs is you got to be a plumber, an electrician. You got to work on, there's so much to an RV. We do RV work on getting a diesel pusher, not our baby. But you know who does? Blackwell up there off of Greenway and 40th Street. Yep. He's a name that comes to mind.
Yep, 40th Street and Greenway. They've been there a long time. Good shop. Blackwell Automotive.
But you're gonna find ADS at Bumper to Bumper Radio. I mean, all the shops on there are my favorite shop, but that's one of my favorite shops. I have such tool envy at his shop. When I go over there, he's got like injector test machines, and he's got this.
Well, you just go to the shop and you walk in there, and it's like just some of the hardware that's in there, the cars, the stuff. But then you leave, and you're like, you know what? I'll just stick with my 10 employees in my little old building, and I'll be just fine. But
they are a professional organization, and I tell you what, Greg cares about each and every one of his customers, and he really wants it to go well. And so he puts his effort into it, and he considers his reputation is on the line in every car he looks at. So that's Automotive Diagnostic Specialist there in Chandler, and you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com.
And I think what you just said about, he cares and wants to get it right, that's a common theme in any shop that you find on bumpertobumperradio.com. We got some phone calls, Dave.
Let's get with Patricia in Phoenix. She's got a 2004 Volvo S80 T6. How can we help you, Patricia? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hello. Just recently I had where when I would walk into my garage, I would smell gasoline. And so my husband took the car in for repair, and they replaced the fuel pump. And so after the fuel pump was replaced, now when we fill the car up with gas, fuel, then it tells me that I have 0 miles to empty, and the gas gauge doesn't register any gas at all. Did that for a couple of days, and then after that, it began to go about halfway and tell me I had 200 miles to empty. So could those two be related, or is that a new problem?
No, it's very likely that it's related, and I'm going to break this out a little bit for everybody that's listening. It doesn't apply to just your Volvo. It might apply to your Honda, your Toyota, your Tahoe, or whatever case it is. So, in some cars, you have to actually remove the fuel tank to get access to the fuel pump. The fuel pump is in the fuel tank, submerged in the fuel, and held in the top by a hanger. Sometimes you have to take it out. Sometimes, and I think in the Volvo, a lot of the BMWs, a lot of the Japanese cars, there's access so that you can take the back seat out, for example, remove a panel, and then get access to that fuel pump to remove it that way without taking the tank out. Well, the reason the fuel pump was probably very expensive, you probably were shocked at your bill, which is normal. The fuel pump is not just the fuel pump. It's the fuel sending unit also. Many times the fuel filter is incorporated into this unit now. So when they change that out, going back in there, they could have bent the rod. It could be a defective brand new one.
So yeah, the float could be hung up. It's like a toilet float. I mean, oversimplified, It's like a toilet float, but it's hung up on something.
It's like a toilet float on your dining room dimmer switch. So when it goes up, the lights get brighter, right? You turn the knob. So as the fuel tank is full, it's sending more voltage to the computer or to
I'm
the
stealing
gas
that.
unit.
I would have never thought of using that.
Right? and it makes the tank full. It goes down, so on and so forth. Doesn't make much sense why it started working and stopped working. You should take it back to the shop. Like we always say, be nice. Tell them what happened.
Don't go in with both barrels.
And then you can tell them you can have the car for the day, recheck it. But I think something's happening that wasn't before. And chances are it may not be, but if I was betting, I like to.
I put my money on it.
Yeah, if I was at the craps table, I'd drop a little bit of coin on the field.
Well, thanks, Patricia. We're going to go with Dave in Sun City. He's got an 09 GMC Sierra. How can we help you, Dave? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thank you, guys, for taking my call. Yeah, this 09 at 4.3, I keep getting ABS light on. I had it scanned, and it kicks a code of a rear wheel speed sensor. And this vehicle doesn't have rear wheel speed sensors on it. So then one guy says, well, it's in the pumpkin. I said, well, you can go look, but there's no sensors back there. So I'm thinking, I did a little research online, and the part I ended up changing was actually the transmission speed sensor in the tail shaft of the transmission.
Mm-hmm.
But when it gets scanned, it's still kicking up the code of the rear wheel speed sensor, and there's none there.
I'd be wanting a wiring diagram to see what's there. Quite commonly they do put them in the pumpkin in the center of the differential. Quite commonly they're out at the wheels, and then quite commonly they pull a speed sensor from the transmission.
You know what though, Dave, 2009 GMC Sierra. That to me talks about a higher graded vehicle. 2009, the Sierra is a nicer, upper level. It's not your work truck model. I'm sure that has four-wheel ABS.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you don't get four-wheel ABS if you don't have four speed sensors.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not be seeing the wiring. It's probably back there.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, get the road map, get the wiring diagram, and then you can tell.
Yeah, for sure. We got time to sneak in one more here. We're going to go with Jeff in Glendale, 04 Ford Expedition, and then John will take you after the show when we get there. Go ahead, Jeff. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. I got $160,000 on my Expedition. Hauling a pop-up trailer up north last week. The fan clutch would not disengage. I could get it to downshift, and I could get the RPMs up to, say, about $4,000. It would haul fine, and all of a sudden the fan would kick back in and just bog the truck back down. So I'm not sure if it's a failing clutch or if I'm just producing that much heat out of that motor.
Yeah, either one or both are going on. I mean, if the fan clutches really come up when it's hot like this. I mean, if they're the thing is, you got that older vehicle, maybe the radiator's original. It's starting to get sediment in the in the bottom of the thing, and it's starting to it may just be running warmer than you're used to it running.
We were challenged with a car, Dave, recently, just not running. It was just on the edge. It was 5, 8, 10 degrees warmer than it should have been, and you start looking at the things that are just marginal. You start looking at the air conditioning condenser. This car had been in an accident before. They had some overspray on it.
Mm-hmm.
30% of the condenser had paint on it. And then 20% of it, say, was impacted with stones and bugs and stuff. And then you look and I peel the covering back, and then in between the radiator and the condenser, there's a bunch of grass and straw and road debris and stuff. All that little stuff is starting to diminish the cooling system. So, Jeff, what you can do, if you're mechanically inclined, take that upper shroud off, get your shop vac out, clean that out, get the garden hose and blast backward. Blast it from the fan forward and clean all the gook out of there. It may not be inside the cooling system. It very well could be external. So I would be having a look at that.
Yeah, and then, very well, it's not unusual to see, fan clutch be bad on a 10, 12-year-old vehicle. Kind of a common thing. So.
Yep. And, hey, next weekend, there's a pretty good chance the Bumper to Bumper guys will be out at the Get Outdoors Expo at Westworld. So if you want to come visit with us, come check us out there all day. It'll be fun for the family out there. And we'll see you. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk next week.